One is why Python, and other one is how DevOps is dependent on Python. Okay, right, in the latest trends, the Pythonic and the Python language is becoming so famous because using Python we can develop applications. Using Python we can uh, develop automations. So applications, in the sense, we have many frameworks related to Python like Django, Flask, and everything. So a developer can develop his complete web application using Python. At the same time, automation. So all the infrastructure, all the tools, everything running on the infrastructure can be controlled by Python. So that is how Python acting as for both the sources. So Python is becoming very famous in current software trending. So that is one thing, and the other thing is DevOps. So DevOps, uh, coming from the legacy architecture when the cloud came into existence. Okay, so prior to the cloud also we have something like OpenStack and something which are pre-clouds. So a similar cloud like architecture. So there has been a concept like DevOps where the admins used to do the operations as well as they used to automate the operations. So that is what used to be happened in DevOps, but slowly the culture in DevOps is also changing a lot, and we are trying to adopt that culture by learning various tools provided by DevOps. Okay, so now here the context is like uh, 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 how what are the tools in DevOps and how you can manage the tools with Python. So that is the thing where we will be learning in this particular course. So yeah, let me quickly introduce myself. Okay, so my name is Kuna Parmeshwara. You can call me as Parmesh. Okay, so I have an IT experience of 10 plus years in this industry. I started as a developer. From starting of my career, I used Python um, and various other languages as well. Uh, but Python is my major role. Apart from that, yeah, I worked as a system administrator. So I worked on legacy infrastructure. Later on, cloud came, and uh, uh, we are again a customer to use the cloud infrastructure. And now currently I'm working as a principal site reliability engineer in a MNC company. Here again my job is like to provide support to the developers with their development environment, supply all the infrastructure, tools, uh, and the pipelines required for the developers to make their product or enhance their product or build new products for them. So that is how my roles and my day-to-day work is about. Okay, so that is brief about myself. So let us again quickly come back to our program. So here in this program, just we will go through the agenda of this meeting. So here I would like to tell about what this program is about, how this program came into picture, so how we designed this program, and what, why, and how. So what this particular Pythonic with the DevOps about, and why we are using this, and how we are going to study this, means how I am going to drive your journey, uh, uh, all about this program. So the thing, and lastly we can go with questionnaire and conclusion. Yeah, so let's start with what in this program. Okay, so let us quickly go about uh, why we have architect this program. This is because we have so many students, people learning DevOps and getting onboarded to the organizations. But what we hear the feedback from the people is like the sustainability, because once they know everything about the tool, but there are feeling some inconsistency in their sustainability, because they what the organizations need and what the people are learning have some gap in between. So to close that gap, we have designed this program. So here, let me explain about the gap. So here what happens is you will learn completely about the tool, how the tool is doing, what are the features in this tool, what is the workflow in the tool, everything you learn in the tool. But the problem is like the organizations, when they are using the tool, uh, as a tool itself, you will have all the features. Then what to do with how to integrate with the developers, so how to integrate this with the development environment, that is where the gap comes, because there is lot of, again, tweaks required for the tool, or else there are a lot of backend changes again that are required for the tool, or you need to pull out something from that tool. So all this again is a different case where organizations need it. That is where exactly the requirement comes from. So for this to happen, you need to do some automations. You need to write some scripts. So all this again goes with some programming language. Okay. So if you are going with a Go developer tool, uh, usually you prefer Go. So if you are using a Spark related tool, like in data science or something like that, there are many Spark related tools. So you go with Scala or something like that. So uh, this is how the bridge between a tool and a organization, how it manages the tool. So this bridge, when comes to DevOps, mostly runs with the Python, because usually this used to happen in olden days also, but they used to use the bash scripts. So bash, awk, this is what they majorly use. And now it is completely transformed into Python, because Python has a lot many features, like again you can enhance the scripts, again you can make it as a web templates, something like that, web related software, something like that you can make. So now the organizations are using Python as a preference for organizing these tools. So that is where people are missing how to automate, or how to connect with the tools with an automation. So this is uh, the main focus of this program, to make you comfortable how to write automations to communicate with the DevOps tools. So this is what overall, or in a nutshell, how our program is. Okay. So let's take a small example, like if you take a taxi and a own car. See, both are cars only. So both give the same features, but the way the people use it is different. For a taxi, let's say the taxi will consider a basic model of car, and he chooses economical rather than luxury. If you are a own car, you go with the luxury rather than economical. So there are such differences. So going to the infrastructure, so the taxi owners have a normal seating and a good carpet, whereas a owners will try to have a leather seatings and a normal carpet, because we use less times the car. So that is how we are using the product. Okay. So the similar thing happens here also when it comes to organizations. So the basing on the organized infrastructure, the organization may choose open source, the organization may choose a licensed versions. So that entirely depends on the organization, and here you are to utilize that opportunity, and you need to write some automations on top of that. So this is the this is the main criteria what we are uh, going to further discuss about. So how the organization chooses this, and where the automations are required, and what are the tools we are going to explore in our complete course. Okay. So this is all about what the program is. uh, and let us take a look of how we are going to drive this, and what we are going to do in this. Okay. Yeah. So let's have a look of what are the major roles and responsibilities of a DevOps architect. So let's say you have a good expertise on a particular tool or something like that, but once you get onboarded into the organization, so how would be your roles and responsibilities? So I have mainly captured these responsibilities from the my ongoing job, and as well as I have pulled some from the job portals. Okay, so here let's go with one by one. So being a DevOps engineer, okay, you need to have a hold on how to maintain and create the infrastructure. So developers come with their application. So they say, this is my application. This is the traffic which comes to my application. They say that, and they will ask the appropriate infrastructure for us. So if it is a serverless model, we need to give we need to provide some lambda if it is a AWS, or if it is more than that, you should migrate them to Kubernetes. So like that. So the first thing is infrastructure. So how do you create the infrastructure? How do you maintain that infrastructure? That is a main thing for a application users to run their application. Okay, so we will focus on how we are maintaining the application and how we are creating the infrastructure, and what are all the automations required for doing this. Okay, then the second thing is maintain unique configuration. So let's say we have depending upon the company, it's like a Honeywell or something like that, they maintain some 50,000 around servers their company is dependent on. So like this, so when they have vast uh, infrastructure they have, so how do you maintain the configuration? So DevOps principle is like to maintain a uniqueness among all the servers. You should not disturb, or you should not deviate a particular server configuration with other servers, because if you do that, application may become unstable when the traffic comes to that particular server. So to maintain a unique configuration across all the servers, you need to run an automation which deals with all the infrastructure instead of manually you are doing something. So that is how a DevOps architect need to have uh, how you will deal with the different types of infrastructure and make them the configuration to be unique. So that is one of the another important point that DevOps architect handle. The other one is continuous integration and deployment. So this is what comes when developers push their code, okay, to a source code repository. So developer has contributed something to their application, they have done some enhancement, how you are going to integrate that, how you are going to deploy that code into the prod environment, stage environment, dev environment. Okay, so for this to happen, many tools like Jenkins, like Git CI/CD we have, but again, how do you automate that? Okay, so when the developers code is going into a deployment, it may not be a straightforward deployment. You may be running some SQLs, or you need to check some database, you need to check some application layer or something you need to do. Then obviously you need to write a script for that. Okay, so that is where this automation comes behind the integration and deployments. So the other thing is migration. So now there are a lot of migrations happening when coming to like on-premises cloud to public cloud. Okay, so organizations want to move out from on-premises cloud, because uh, they don't want to uh, put more investment on infrastructure. They want to uh, pay for what they utilize. So for such reasons, organizations are moving from private cloud to public cloud. So that is where migrations are happening. So now you are responsible for how to replace the infrastructure. So if they are using a NAS storage, NAT storage, how do you migrate them for a object storage? Okay, such scenarios are there. So for this again, you need to write some automations, okay, which if it is like a hybrid cloud kind of thing, you need to communicate with both the clouds. So there requires some automations. So everything has a tool, but the problem is like every tool requires again a tweaks or something like that, and that is where automation comes into picture. Okay, again monitoring. So monitoring is another uh, major role of DevOps, where the warriors or the support team comes into picture. So you will be writing some automations to monitor the your all infrastructure, and whenever something spikes comes or a major spike observes in your graph, you need to work on the infrastructure and make the infrastructure stable. So this is where comes with the monitoring, and we have many tools for that in DevOps. Again, how do you automate? Uh, what are the tweaks in these monitoring tools? How do you automate them? So that all we will discuss going further in this course. And then security. Okay, security is one more concern when it comes to public cloud. Okay, so to maintain this security, what you do is like you need to communicate with the host, you need to communicate with the servers, you need to add the users, you need to give the access to the users. So for this all again they require some automations. Okay, so what we do is for each and everything we have tools in DevOps, and we will observe what are how this how those tools are utilized in the organizations, and what is the requirement of organization, and where the automations are necessary. Okay, so where we need to give the automations, that is what we are going to discuss in this course. Okay, as well as on-call support with operations. So we have some run books and cookbooks. So we need to discuss how you need to document your automation, like how you can trigger your automation, what are all the arguments your automation takes, and if at all any UI is required, how you will prepare the UI. So there are some certain criteria that again comes with the run books and cookbooks, which is related to operations. So that is what we are going to discuss all along within this course. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to the next slide. I have picked few tools where you will be where the Pythonic code will be required, and uh, don't think that only these tools we will be learning. We will be learning lot many tools, but I have just picked some tools where you can understand better why this Python with DevOps is important for a DevOps architect. Okay, so let's say I'm going with Elasticsearch, and Elasticsearch is something like I have kept the Kafka here, but it is not necessarily Kafka. It should be okay. You can be any source environment, like it is coming from a particular directory, the files are coming from a particular directory, you have logs in a particular server. Okay, so as the application runs, it generates lot many logs, so you are capturing all the logs. Okay, so it may be any source, it may be Kafka or any different source. Okay, so you are connecting some logs from the uh, source, and now there is a log stash, but here right, like log stash gets the data, it will make it into chunks, and it will push the data to whatever destination you give. It may be Elasticsearch, it may be a AWS bucket, or it may be an external NAS storage. Okay, so while pushing this, what happens is you have a filter, so you need not to have all the logs to be pushed. Okay, you may have a you may have a particular what I mean to say is you think a particular format of logs are important for you. Okay, so whatever that particular importance is there. Okay, so there you need to keep a filter. Okay, so when coming to organizations and when coming to LOBs within the organization, this filter changes. Okay, so the focus will be different for each LOB. So there needs a different filters to be kept in the log stash. So how you are going to keep the different filters there? So that is where Python again come into existence. You need to write an automation. So when one LOB says that these are all my filters, you need to template them. You need to put appropriate values to them, and you need to generate those templates, and you need to put it in your uh, logstash filter criteria. Okay, so this is where you need to write the Pythonic code on top of logstash. Okay, and the other thing is storage and indexing. Let's say you have given for an Elasticsearch. Okay, now again the problem is Elasticsearch will store the data, but how do you what organization expect from that Elasticsearch? They want some results, right? They want to pull some results. So they may want to pull how is our quarterly performance of these tools, of these applications, how many requests came for that particular application. So they want to observe something out of that Elasticsearch. Then what is the automation you require? So you get from your stakeholders what are all the observations they want. You will write some Pythonic automation to pull all that queries from the Elasticsearch, and you want to display it on some dashboard. Okay, so this is where again a Pythonic code requirement will be. Okay, so such scenarios, like such scenarios, we will discuss more about. We will discuss about the tools. We will put these spin up these tools in our infrastructure, and we will start writing automation on top of these tools. Okay, so and then I'm going with a different again type of Pythonic requirement. So here we have multiple apps, but the problem is the platform. Okay, so how those applications deals with the Windows platform or with a DevOps platform. Okay, so here comes again the requirement to pull out all the uh, to have a communication between the uh, uh, platform what it is running and the application what it is doing. Let's say we have a tool like OS query in DevOps, which deals with the underlying platform. Okay, but the OS query again it requires a conf file. So what type of infrastructure it is, what are the if you want to copy the files or something you need to do and then run the OS query. On top of that, you need a Python automation there. Okay, so such scenarios again require automations. So this is some of we will discuss some of the automations related to system automation, which are again dependent on uh, the platforms. Okay, again, so this is a different uh, LOB again, where cloud automation. Okay, so cloud automation, Amazon or any public cloud. Okay, not only Amazon. Here I have taken that example, but still we have Azure, we have Oracle Cloud, we have Google Cloud, where they provide Python SDKs, because when you are interacting with the interacting with the cloud, you may need to do certain operations on certain servers only. Okay, let's say you want to shut down only 2 to 3 servers. Okay, then the thing is, you need to write an automation using Python, where Python interacts with your web service, and it will communicate with the particular infrastructure or the particular servers, and do the actions on top of that. Okay, so here in Amazon, you usually prefer Boto 3 as given by Amazon. Okay, so Python will interact with the interact to Amazon via Boto 3. But every cloud has their own Python SDKs. You will learn here how to consume their APIs, how to interact with the cloud infrastructure, and how to perform your action. So this is what happens when you are learning the cloud automation. Okay, so the next thing is Terraform. Okay, so uh, Terraform, why we use Terraform? Anyone?
For infrastructure as a code,
Correct.
for deploying the
So
infrastructure.
correct. So if developers comes to us and ask us, we need certain infrastructure, then what we do is we don't go to console and spin up the infrastructure. What you do is you will use Terraform as a tool to generate the infrastructure. But when you are learning this tool, what you do is you will learn how to declare this language, how to spin up an infrastructure, and you play with that infrastructure. That is how you learn the Terraform. But the problem is, when you come into organization, again the context will be completely different. Why? Because see, Terraform, when you are writing the language and when you are running the Terraform, what happens is it generates the state files, and the state files will be with you. Okay, so the organization don't know what you have spinned up, because the state file is with you. Okay, so they want to make this Terraform as a centralized tool, and developers should or like DevOps architects should uh, generate some Terraform code and run it in the pipeline. Okay, so that is where the how the requirement will be within organization. Okay, so what you do is you write some automation, and that automation should generate the uh, Terraform code, and that Terraform code should run in a pipeline, and that state file should be in a object storage or a resource manager or something like that. Now, in that way, the whole organizations know what the infrastructure is being generated, and how the infrastructure is getting any changes in infrastructure. You can track those changes also. That is what happens when you work in an organization. So these are all different LOBs and different examples I have given. But if we go through our curriculum, I have added lot many things there, and various tools that we integrate with, like Slack messengers, and various tools related to DevOps, like monitoring tools. Such all things I have kept in the curriculum. So once you go through the curriculum, you may get a glimpse understanding of what all we will go through. And I have picked everything which are utilized by most of the organizations. Okay, so that is how our Python with DevOps would be. Okay, so I am moving for the next slide. So this is all about why we are choosing this Python with DevOps. Okay, till here you have any questions? What and why has been completed?
I am good, sir.
Okay, did you understand like why, what is the major Python requirement when with respect to DevOps? Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, let's go with how we will do this. Okay, So as like I said, Python with DevOps, here you need to get awareness on two things. One is how to write Python code. Second thing is how to spin up the tools and how to utilize the tools. Okay, so two things are required here. So let's first go with the Python. Okay, so what I my thinking is about like about first we will go with the basics of Python. Okay, so uh, when I say basics like conditions, loops, and data structures, what we have in the Python. But remember, Python is again a vast coding, and Python has a lot of modules related to different platforms. Like it has to networking. It has with UI. Okay, lot of things are there in Python, but we are not going to learn all the things because it becomes senseless when you are not utilizing the modules. Okay, so being a DevOps architect, you don't need to learn the entire Python stack. So what I have done is I have picked up the things, the Pythonic things which are related to DevOps and where you utilize more in the DevOps. Okay, so anyway, the basics are all the same. Okay, then regarding operating systems. Okay, so how Python. Okay, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, let us continue. Sorry, due to some networking issues, uh, the meeting has been stopped. Yeah, I can continue. So here, uh, yeah. So going back regarding the Pythonic stuff. Okay, so here we are picking up the Python modules or Python language where a certain Pythonic stuff which is important for the DevOps architect in day-to-day activities. So that is has been um, yeah, that has been put it in the curriculum. So yeah, going with the basics and then operating systems, then we have like file handling. Okay, so we need to interact with so many files like configuration files or log files, something like that. So you need to know how the file handling. Apart from this, we will be studying about how the inheritance in the Python is, how to write a readable code. So such all things we will be discussing in the Python. Okay, then testing and debugging, and another important thing is like how to write the unit tests, how to mock your uh, modules. So all that we will be learning first. So we will start with Python. We will cover all the important concepts of Python. Okay, then we will be moving to uh, the next DevOps tools. Okay, so mostly our tools will be categorized like containers. Okay, so most of the tools like Jenkins, ELK, Salt Stack. So any tools that we are working on with will be picked as a container. So we will be running the containers and we will be learning about the tools, and then we will be learning about how to write a automation on top of that tool. So that is what we are going to learn. And then cloud APIs. So how do you interact with cloud? Okay, so what are the actions we are as a DevOps architect you will learn, and how to implement those actions with Python SDK. So such things we will learn, and mostly we will prefer AWS for this as a cloud. Okay, then we are going to learn infrastructure as a code. Okay, so related to Terraform here. So how do you put Python automation on top of Terraform to generate the infrastructure? So this is what all in a nutshell we are I have categorized the tools and we are going to learn with. Okay, So all the tools mostly will be containers, so we can pull the containers, we can up the containers, and we can right away use that tool. Okay, so so installing and everything will not be a burden, but initially we will be using Vagrant for our productive development. Okay, so the next is implementation stack. So this is all about how the different tools and how we can different and again the tools, how we are going to work with the tools, and what is the DevOps architect responsibilities. Let's say you have run an automation, so you have designed an automation, how you are going to package your automation and how you are going to deploy that again. Okay, this is again a Pythonic activity required. Once you are done with the automation, okay, you need to package your Python code, and you need to make it either a RPM file or a exe file depending upon the platform, and you need to run that again as an agent in all the systems, all the infrastructure. So that also you need to learn. So that is how we will end the course with. Okay, so next we will be having prerequisites. So what would be the prerequisites for this DevOps? Okay, uh, so uh, I don't say you must be an expertise on all these modules, but what I can say is just have a hands-on on Linux infrastructure, Windows infrastructure. So how you can write the command lines, how you will interact with the commands in the Linux. Okay, so what are the DevOps tools available, and what are being extensively used by various organizations? So at the same time, you need to spend some time on practice, because you are writing an automation means you are developing some code. Okay, so you need to have lot of practice to make the code optimized, run faster run faster. Okay, so for this to happen, you need to rewrite the code again and again, so that you can understand how your code is getting optimized. Okay, uh, what are the space and time complexity, how it is getting decreased in your code. Okay, so one thing is you should learn how to code. The second thing is how you should know how to make your code more optimized and reduce the time and space complexities. Okay, so this is how all about this program. Okay, so yeah, just I want to conclude. Before concluding, just I want to show you uh, uh, some few things like uh, I have pulled out a few uh, latest job requirements from the portal, and you see how the uh, organizations are looking for. So you need to have any one scripting requirement along with the DevOps tools, you know. So this is actually, if you see here, so they have their tools. Okay, so you need to have experience on those tools. At the same time, the primary responsibility would be writing the code. Okay, so you may not understand why, what is the exact match between tools and this language, but that is what the organizations need, because they have the tools, but the problem is they need lot of tweaks on top of the tools. They utilize in a different way the tools. So for that reason, we need a programmer associated with a tools. Okay, so like that. So I have picked up uh, the first five of DevOps architect. Okay, so if you see again, they are asking for Python with respect to admining some Terraform, Kubernetes stuff here. Okay, so likewise, so you can go through the portals and see how the job requirements is, and you can have a better understanding of how the programming is important. for DevOps. Okay. So yeah, I want to conclude here. You can go with any questions you have.
Sir, what are the timings for this one?
You can once ask the management regarding timings and other stuff. Okay. So yeah, I can answer any technical questions only. Uh, Management is designing all the timings and other things. Yeah.
Okay, sir. With respect to this end of the this course, the person whoever is attending this one able to handle the independently the pipelines, etc., with a complete automation.
Correct. Yes. So you will be writing the pipelines as well as you will be writing the automations corresponding to that pipelines. Okay. Yeah. So you will understand what are the tweaks and automations required for all these tools, and then you will be able to, once you are into the organization, you can easily understand what they are doing with these tools. Okay. And right away you can give the enhancement for them.
Perfect, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's it pretty much. I can understand. So this is today's Sunday and it's a fun time, and thanks for your contribution of time towards your professional aspects, and that is really appreciable. So yeah, thanks again, one and all, for attending this session.